Hello, welcome to Footy Corner. Hope you're all well. Nice to see you all. We are running a bit late, so sorry about that, but we're here, so we weren't going to be.
It was very close run thing.
It was touch and go, touch and go. Dom's train provider was kind of in a bit of a pickle, let's say. So yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. The train in front of me broke down on the single track, and I couldn't get through.
yes. So how are we other than that, Dom?
Yeah, very well, mate. Very well. Shame it's the international break, but apart from that, all is good. How about your good self?
I'm actually quite glad for the international break, just purely from a point of view that we get a chance to get our players back.
I think from an Arsenal perspective, you're right. It's good that we're at this point. As you say, players coming back, and we'll probably touch on Sunderland, but they looked a bit leggy on Saturday. Needed a break, but from our point of view, obviously, the football's a bit crap in it during the international break.
Yeah, I mean, but we got the job done anyway, so it doesn't really matter from the England point of view anyway. We've got 13 players called up. Let's just go through those actually. So you've got Saliba, Trossard, Sublimendi, Raya, Marino, Rice, Eza, Saka, Timber. Timber's got they've got a critical match actually. If they win that, they go through. Yeah, Norgard. I don't think they can qualify actually.
No, he's Denmark, isn't he? Not Norway. Yeah,
Denmark, yes. Yeah, I'm not sure. It could be a shootout. It says so. So maybe they can with the if they win both their games, they can go through. And then you got Calafiori for Italy. Ødegaard has gone to. You've got me confused now. The Norway side, as a non-playing role, because obviously he's their captain as well, isn't he?
He is, and Norway could qualify. I'm not sure if it's their first ever World Cup, but could qualify for the first World Cup in a very long time if it's not their first one.
It's a long time. It's not their. It's not their only one.
I want to say
it's a while. It's been a while.
I might look that up while you carry on.
80s, wasn't it? Was it in the 80s?
That's why I just said 84. But
yeah, right. I got a bit of a mixed kind of harmonics in my head. And Gabriel obviously is the South American side, but yeah.
Oh, fair enough. 1998. 1938, 1994, yeah, because 1984 couldn't be a World Cup year because I got my maths wrong. And
No,
1998,
86, wasn't it?
yeah, 86. So 1998 was their last one.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, that's a bit more respectable than I thought it was anyway. So fair
28 years, big moment for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's good for players to get a bit of a breather. Hopefully, they don't get overplayed. For country as well, because I think Rice needs a rest as well. To be honest.
Well, I was talking about this yesterday, and from an England perspective, you wonder why Declan Rice has been called up. Bukayo Saka, you can understand because he's missed the last couple of camps because of injury. So you can understand why he's been called up. But this is nothing for England. So, why not try some of these other players? The other way of looking, of course, is that Thomas Tuchel hasn't been able to put out his best side. So does he want to have a look at them from that point of view? But hopefully it will just be looking at Rice and Saka in training and not in the games.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that potential, isn't there? That's it's just about actually looking at them and seeing, where they're at and where they fit in. Hopefully, they just play I don't know, 45 minutes or something here and there. It'd be nice if they only play 10 minutes here and there, but I've got a feeling they'll probably play more.
Yeah, I do too. As I say, I can understand why he does if he goes for a real strong side just to see them together for 60 minutes or so. But if it's sort of like, well, I'm going to try, I don't know who's, we're going to try someone that is not going to play alongside Declan Rice.
Yeah.
Like, why are you doing that?
Why are you doing that? Might as well change the lot if you're going to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I just don't really understand it, to be honest. But hopefully he goes there, plays a bit part role, and he gets a bit of rest. So
Yes, yeah. I mean, that's got to be what you hope for. But of course,
yeah,
Tuchel will have his own sort of ideas as well, and he's got his own job to do. So, we can't guarantee it, can't rely on it.
yeah. I mean, it's only 2 games in the 2-week period, anyway, isn't it? I suppose so. It's
Yeah,
not
it's not
that
horrific.
drastic. It's not like Premier League fatigue where you've got it weekend and midweek.
And it'll also be less intensity, one would have thought.
Yeah, for sure. Well, absolutely. They're qualified anyway, top of the group anyway,
Yeah.
so it should just be kind of a procession, if you like.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you?
Welcome in, protagonist. How are we? Welcome in, guys. If you are in here, please make sure you're hitting the like and subscribing to the channel. Make sure you're sharing it out as well. That'd be much appreciated. Helps the algorithm and everything coming in. So thank you very much for doing that. Any comments in the chat, we'll try and respond to them as we go. And any comments after, if you're watching the pre-record, we'll get back to those as well. So yeah, there we are. Yeah, on to the Sunderland game. What were your thoughts on the actual? I mean, we can't even go on the lineup really because it's kind of the only lineup we could really put out because we do have those certainly attacking injuries, not necessarily in the defensive department. We don't have a substitute keeper at the moment, but it's kind of I think that was just a knock. I don't think it's anything too serious.
Yeah,
for Kepa.
he'll be back, no question.
Yeah,
on that one. Yeah, thoughts on the match. I mean, firstly, Sunderland I thought played really, really well. Let's just give them a little bit of praise. The narrative is always when one of the big teams drops points is all about them rather than a bit of praise to the opposition. So Sunderland were excellent. Dan Ballard, sort of a forgotten man really, because the narrative was understandably around Granit Xhaka. But Dan Ballard, of course, former Arsenal. Of course, I think we got £1 million, by the way, when Sunderland were promoted as part of that deal. Every little helps. He was fantastic. But
I'm sure we've got sell up for him as well.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. But yeah, so I don't think Sunderland are going down. But if they do, he's going to be a Premier League player, judging by how well he started the season. But yeah, in terms of the game itself, like I said at the top, I think Arsenal looked a little bit leggy. Third away game in 8 days. I think it was that more than the number of matches. But as you say, the rest is still needed. But there's a lot of travel, a lot of intensity, lots of pressure. And I think that sort of showed, particularly in the first half, Arsenal very slow, very ponderous. I wonder if that was partly deliberate because Arteta knew where the legs were at, partly maybe to try and subdue that crowd. But I mean, Sunderland deservedly led at half time, although Saliba, I think that was in the first half, he put it over. Certainly should have done better with that one. But second half, I thought Arsenal were much better, moved the ball quicker with purpose. We've hit the crossbar, we've had other big chances. Second half was really, really good. The disappointment out of the game, of course, is when you're winning 2-1 with, in the 90th minute, you'd hope to see it out. We didn't, but we didn't defend the box well for either goal. David Raya, I think, has got to punch that ball, but
I think it's easier than that. I don't think he comes to it at all.
One or the other. Yeah.
I think once he sees Gabriel going in like that, I think he just comes out of it completely, takes 2 steps back, and I think it goes straight into his arms.
Yeah, I mean that is also it is also a fair position to have. But either way, it was 2 defensive mistakes, but they happen in games. I think the big talking point was about the substitutions from Mikel Arteta. I had no problem, by the way, with going 5 at the back. We did it and saw it out against Brighton. We did it against Palace. We've done it plenty of other times. I didn't have a problem with that. What I did think we should have done, though, was make some more substitutions. I think probably you want to make them at the 75th minute mark, but having Trossard just scored, I understood why that was delayed at that point. But I thought Norgard coming onto midfield might have been a sensible plan because Zubimendi and Rice were starting to look. Zubimendi in particular was starting to look tired. But you
I
can also.
just think we went too deep too quickly. I don't think it was anything to do with Mosquera coming on at all.
No, I agree.
I think we just backed off. We just didn't do anything, and just let them kind of add pressure on that we didn't need to let them have.
Exactly.
And I don't think that's managerial at all. And I've heard people basically putting the blame on Arteta, which is fair enough if that's your opinion. But I mean, it's not mine.
It's funny you say that because sorry, I was just going to say I thought the substitutions then would have actually put some legs, which would have moved us 10 yards further forward. So I thought the 5 in the back and 10 yards further forward would have seen the game out. Because I agree with you completely. I think it was that. I really, really do. But I think the players got tired and dropped. Too early.
I think it was more tiredness because obviously there's been no rotation. Because we've had nobody to rotate. Everybody go, oh, but you got the best squad in the league. Well, yeah, but if they're all injured, they're not in the matchday squad, are they? And they haven't been in the matchday squad for any of the 3 games. So it's not as if the option was there. So
no.
Yeah,
they're injured in a certain area of the pitch as well. It's not like you've got a couple of defenders out, a midfielder out, a couple of
it always seems to happen like that, doesn't it? I mean, even last season, it started with defence and then worked up to midfield, and then went up top.
Yeah,
and,
sorry, Karen.
No, so it's fine, but So it just kind of goes in modules and works its way through. So it's just like, well, you can't cater for everything, you know, barring having a 30-man squad, which you're not going to have. It's just what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to, as you say, you can't register a 30-man squad unless 5 of them are under the age cap, so you don't have to register them. But then that becomes unmanageable. But
we can't even name them in the match day squad because they still got to name them. So it doesn't matter if they're under the threshold.
Exactly.
You've only got a certain number actually in the squad.
In the squad, exactly, and that's when it becomes unmanageable, right? Because if everyone's fit, you're leaving, was it 12 players out? But I think you're spot on there. But the other thing about injuries, and I talked about it last season, is this idea of the snowball effect. And I think that's why you get them in those clumps, is because you then have to overplay the others, which increases their fatigue, which increases the risk of them getting injured.
Yeah, well, this is the whole thing where everybody said, "Oh, you've got no cover for Saka, you've got no cover for this, you've got no cover for that," and I still go back to the summer transfer window, and the only other place that we could have done anything is left wing, isn't it? Really, I mean. We wouldn't have done anything else. So,
and that's not numbers. That's you're looking for an upgrade there.
Well, you'd have to take one out, wouldn't you?
Yeah, for sure.
So you're not increasing numbers, like you say. You're literally take one out, one in.
Yeah, the only way you could have done it would be if you'd had someone take Gabriel Jesus off your hands, or you release Gabriel Jesus. He does a deal like Tomiyasu did. That's the only way.
It's never going to happen on the money he's on and. Exactly. The stature he's on, it's never going to happen.
Exactly.
The only thing we can kind of hope with Jesus is that he does actually come back fit and he can offer something to the squad.
I agree. So no one was taking him for the reasons you just articulated. He was an injured player. The only chance you had of getting rid of him would be if he took a deal like Tomiyasu did to sort of leave. Yeah. But I can't see anyone taking him in January because. His wages and his fitness record, and from an Arsenal perspective, if he were to leave on, say, loan, you're really saving probably at most £5 million, which probably doesn't move the dial overly in terms of a financial fair play perspective, which is also why even if he left and you got his wages covered, you probably still haven't got enough money to bring in of someone of amazing quality.
Well, we'd have to cover a partial of his wages anyway, wouldn't we? Because there is no way that you're loaning him out and somebody else. I mean, was it? There was a Premier League club that was interested in him. I
don't remember a Premier League club being interested in him, but it was interesting in Bill for sure.
Yeah, no, there was a Premier League club, but quite recently that kind of came out, and I don't know how true that
like
is.
West Ham.
I think it might even have been a Fulham or something like that.
Fulham could do with him something like that. But as
Yeah,
I say, if you're saving £5 million in January between then and the end of season,
you
just
might
keep
as
him
well
in the
just keep
squad
him.
because he could be. If you're in a situation like we're in now, Gabriel Jesus is great. He can play on the right, he can play on the left, and he can play up front. Obviously, number 9
Unless you're
is
going to bring
needed.
somebody else in, of course. If,
Yeah,
if you've got the facilities to bring somebody in, I see that Rodrigo's touted again.
yep. I
Um,
think he's going to try and outlast Xavi Alonso rather than leave.
I don't think he is. I think he wants out.
Do you? I think
Mm.
I think the opposite. I think he's going to want to try and outlast Xavi Alonso.
I just don't see it. I just don't see it, to be honest. I can't see them getting rid of him. He's basically got too many in certain positions and not enough in other positions. So it's. I think he was stupid in the summer anyway. Actually, I think they're both stupid in the summer. Both
Yeah,
Alonso and Rodrigo.
I agree. I was trying to work out which one you were meaning was
Yeah,
stupid.
yeah. So that's why I kind of I was going to say I'm talking about Rodrigo, but then I kind of think I double checked myself because I actually think both of them were because Alonso could have got another player in a squad that is actually going to facilitate a squad and not upset it. And Rodrigo could have got some game time.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I actually think Alonso was very sensible at Real Madrid to start focusing on that defence. It's where they lack cover. It's where they lack players. How many times did Tchouaméni or Camavinga have to play at the back last season? Quite a lot, right?
Yeah,
But, and he's got all the attacking talent. He wanted to use those young players like Gula coming through. You know, at the moment, Endrick can't get a game. Well, if you take Rodrigo out, Endrick can start coming into play. But Endrick looks like
I'd take Hendrick. If he got a chance to get him, I'd take him.
and it will be a loan as well. I think that would be a really interesting one. I think from a Real Madrid perspective, I don't send Endrick to Arsenal because I think his game time would be limited. I would send him to Lyon, who are reportedly very, very interested in him, and get him playing at Lyon because he's going to play every game there. And that what he needs is minutes and sort of to help him acclimatise. But from an Arsenal perspective, if you told me we're going to lose Jesus and we're going to get Endrick, I think Jesus' experience is really invaluable, and obviously he's
Yeah.
Premier League proven, which Endrick is neither of those things. But I would trust Endrick to stay fit, and really, you're only looking for someone to play probably 5-6 games, and mostly off the bench.
We're not even that really. I mean,
Yeah,
even if it's 2 or 3 games, it doesn't really matter.
exactly.
It's just like the the odd cup game here and there that's just too much, or a Premier League game that's just that too much, where you've got a player you just need to rest him out, and you've just got him for 60 minutes,
Yeah,
and you just want him to play for half an hour.
yeah. Or even you've won the game, and Bukayo Saka comes off, or Gyökeres comes off, or
Yeah,
whatever.
but I actually think it would suit a Real Madrid as well, because obviously it's like, well, you're not getting games here. You go there, and then you get the same amount of game time, and you know that the grass is not always greener, sort of thing. You know what I mean? So you kind of go, okay, well, it's the same situation here, so I might as well stay at Real Madrid and be patient there. Do you know what I mean? It's like a
That's a really interesting
subliminal
way of looking at it. Yeah,
management point of view, that you basically go, well, rather than playing every single game, you go to another big club. They're going to be treating you the same way as we're treating you, and maybe you're not quite so impatient.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. I hadn't considered it from that point of view. I considered it from the point of view of trying to get him acclimatized to playing in European
No, I
competition.
get it. I get it completely, but it's yeah. 'Cause obviously, from another point of view, you've got to look at the likes of Odegaard that they kind of sent on loan and then sold him. Now, I don't know whether they regret that or not. I don't really know, but you would think that somebody that can get in an Arsenal first team, you could utilize him at Real Madrid. I don't exactly know the details behind it. I don't know who was playing in that position, but yeah, maybe they regretted it. So maybe they treat it slightly differently with like an Endrick sort of thing.
Yeah, possibly, very much so. I mean, as I say, I hadn't considered it from that point of view. Generally speaking, with young players, you want to get them going, playing. But it is a very good point as to how they might want to look at it. It'll depend on what
Yeah.
they decide is best for him and what's best for Hendrick.
Evening, Khalid. How are we, sir? Please make sure you're hitting the like button and subscribing if you're not already. I know Khalid is, but yeah, and if you can share it out as well, that'd be much appreciated. Fantastic. Thank you everybody for joining as well. But yeah, who was your actual player of the match? Because obviously we started really sluggish in the first half. We didn't really turn up at all, to be honest. But it was almost like we were kind of going through the motions and maybe looking for a set piece. That's probably the only time that we were actually looking for a set piece, where people have actually accused us of doing it. I think this was probably the only time that they actually had a point, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. As as I say, I thought whether it's quieting down the crowd, whether it was deliberate, or whether it was just leggy, I don't know. But you're spot on. In terms of player of the match, I mean, it was Dan Ballard. But from an Arsenal perspective, it was I thought it was Leo Trossard actually. I thought he was looking to get stuff done. Obviously, his goal helps, but he was looking to play the balls in behind. I think he was looking sharp, and I think he's had a good few weeks. Trossard, I really do. Sort of very much an unsung hero, but for me, Trossard
finish as well, by the way.
Oh, lovely, beautiful finish. Yeah. But it was sort of just his involvement, his ability to look to try and make something happen, particularly in the second half. That for me made him sort of stand out. I don't know who you thought man of the match was, but that was sort of who I thought. I thought Mikel Merino as well is industrious in that position. I mean, I've heard people say that he should be the number 2 striker now, and Havertz should be out, but I think that's for the birds. But
you're not going to do that. I mean, the guy's on 270, 280 a week. You're not going to put Merino in there. Merino is still basically the sub for Rice. Later on in games, that's basically what his role is, and he's just facilitating something else up top when we don't have anything.
I agree. I mean, take out the money for Havertz. Like Havertz is, there's an argument Moreno is a better finisher than Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz.
I think he's a better finisher than a lot of strikers in the league, to be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly.
That finish where he actually jumps up in the air and finishes that. Havertz is never doing that.
No. But then, to your point, nor a lot of strikers in the league. But but for me, Havertz links to play better. Merino gives it a good old go. His movement is better. His understanding of where to be is better. But Merino up front has done a really good job. But you're right. Merino, I said it last summer, was brought in to be a squad player. The reason we went for Merino then last summer rather than this summer was because we couldn't get Zubimendi. So we switched round the order we were buying them in. We needed a midfielder. Moreno was someone that Arteta really liked. So we went, right, we'll get the squad player this year and we'll get the starter next year because the starter we want isn't available. And that is the striker we want. But Havertz will come in and rotate with Gyökeres. But Moreno is a really good other option. And, he does a good job up there. But Arsenal don't look the same with Moreno up front as they do, from my point of view, with Havertz or Gyökeres. Those two are very different. But
no, absolutely not. I mean, obviously, the attention that Saka and Timber were getting again was telling, wasn't it? It was kind of
very.
They kind of left the right side alone, which is why Trossard could do what he was doing.
Yes.
So they kind of left the striker. They focused on Saka. They focused on Timber coming through. And Eza to a point as well. They're just kind of spoiling tactics on Eza as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's why Trossard I had that extra space, and they're not used to giving that extra space and it actually coming to something.
Yeah.
So that's probably what's happening there.
It's a really good point because Gyökeres has, everyone's talking about his lack of goals and blah blah blah, but I think he's done a really good job, and part of what he's done really well at is occupying defenders, which is giving.
He just sucks them in, doesn't he? He literally just sucks them in.
Yeah.
So even when he's on the shoulder, I mean, loosely, he doesn't really play on the shoulder so much. He gets there and then tries to stretch it, but he plays a different way to Havertz and even Jesus, really. So he's looking to take it beyond the line, and everybody else is kind of looking to take it in front of the line.
I agree.
So yeah. Khalid says, I can't wait to see Havertz play for us again. Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to have that option, certainly the option in the 10 role as well. So if you've got Gyökeres up top and you've got Havertz in behind, maybe kind of working in reverse. So he's trying to bring it down, hold up the play to slide him in, because as you say, Havertz plays completely different to Gyökeres, and it's just a different option.
Yeah, I know, I agree. I think Havertz's return is going to be really important for the whole team and Gyökeres. And I think, like you say, it gives you different options. I think if you've got games where you need to try and bring the defenders out a little bit more, Havertz will do that because he naturally drops short. And that means that you can tire out defenders doing that, and then Gyökeres can run up them late. Gyökeres does what Gyökeres does, and I think we know where he's going to play. So I think it gives you options. But it also, as you say, if you need a goal or you've got, say, Manchester United with 3 centre-backs, you could almost go, as you say, with Havertz in the 10. I'd have him almost more as a sort of false 9 with Gyökeres as a true number 9, almost like a 2 up front, sort of old sort of school style system.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Options. But I've got a question for you, actually, which is, this is a very small sample size, but I thought Havertz looked far more direct at goal and far more looked like he was going to try and get in behind this season in those very small number of minutes he's had so far before he got that knock to the knee. Do you think he's going to see us playing sort of almost more similarly to Gyökeres this season, and sort of bring that to his game as well? Because there were elements of that, but as I say, it's such a small sample size, it's hard to tell. Was that a one-off, or was that something we're going to see more of?
I wonder if it was a systematic change that basically said, right, we don't want you to do this all the time, but just try this, and then we can familiarize the rest of the team to the Gyökeres style of play, but your appointment for it. So I think it might have just been a temporary thing that just says, right, okay, just go with it. It's not what we expect from you altogether. We still want you to do what you were doing before, but the rest of the team have got to get in sync with Gyökeres. So you're basically the guinea pig, if you like.
Yeah, it could well be interesting. Interesting thought. As I say, it was too early to sort of make a judgment on what he's looking to do, but that is another way of looking at it. So yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's mad, isn't it? That we've had so few opportunities to see the attacking options. We've got the attacking options, but they're just not being available. So it's everybody go, oh, you finally got your last piece of the jigsaw, yeah, and then everybody else goes out. So, oh yeah, and then they go, oh well, it's only one starter. Well, no, 2 starters for a start off, and then it's like, how long have they been out? And it's like everybody's over analysing everything. Well, Ødegaard's been out for 12 games through all competitions, so it's it's not a small sample.
But even if it is your so-called backup players, well, we talk about rotation and how important it is the players fit. Well, they are your rotation, right? So actually, you're winning 2-3-0 with 20 minutes to go. Off you come, Bukayo. On you go, Madueke. And look, injuries are part of the game. Like, I was talking to someone yesterday who was saying that Arsenal don't manage injuries well. They get more injuries than everyone else. Last season was a bit of an anomaly, but they weren't the only one last season. There were an increased number of injuries last season compared to previous years.
I think Spurs still got more than us, to be honest.
And I was just going to say, right now, Arsenal have 7. City are down to 1, but 2 if you include Rodri, because he's kind of in and out. But early, just 4 weeks ago, they were at 5 or 6. Yeah. Chelsea are currently at 6, I think it is, and Liverpool at 7, but they might be the other way around. And Spurs are at 10. We're roughly in where you'd expect us to be.
They've got another one yesterday, actually. Moani's gone out.
That's even there.
No, he played at the weekend, though. And I think he went off really early. I can't remember now. Let me have a look.
Just very quickly, where you look at that, Rojas has just been sent off for Arsenal under-21s against Cardiff, so we're down to 10 men. The goalkeeper's been sent off.
Okay, fair enough.
So there we go. I don't know who's going to come on actually, because Porter would normally play.
Porter played the England international.
Well, exactly. That's why I'm saying, which is presumably why Rojas gone in goal. So I'm not sure who the reserve goalkeeper is tonight.
Yeah, that's weird. But yeah, definitely Porter was. Oh, maybe he didn't play.
Yeah, Bill Porter did play. He played for England.
No, not Porter. I'm talking about
Kolo Muani.
Yeah. Yes, he did. He did come off. On 46 minutes.
46 minutes. There you go. So
46 minutes. So he definitely is injured, but I think it was out for a month or something. Who else did I hear that's got an ACL
for Spurs?
No, Sesko I heard has got an ACL.
Oh, he's certainly got a serious knee injury. Manchester United were saying it is very serious, but I hadn't heard it was reported as an ACL.
Right. Okay. He came on. Did he not finish the game then against Spurs?
No, he was definitely, he hurt his knee quite badly.
So, but he did finish the game.
I don't know if he finished the game, but he's certainly got a really nasty injury. No, it's not an ACL, according to Fabrizio Romano. Far, early indications are. Oh, hang on. No, there's another update from Romano.
This was last night. I heard that.
Yeah. Last night it was saying that it wasn't an ACL. United had to play the last 10 minutes with 10 men because he couldn't finish the game.
Yeah, Khalid, that's not a new one though, is it? His ACL was done like 3 weeks ago, wasn't it, Ines?
No, I'm talking about Šeško here. Sorry.
No, Khalid's put in Ines. I think Ines done his ACL, but I think that was done for a few weeks ago, if I recall.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it? Certainly a couple of games ago.
I don't think it was this week.
Yeah, no, Šeško apparently, early indications are it's not an ACL, but it's yet to be confirmed.
Right, okay. I'm just checking to see if Ina played. No, he didn't. So he must be out already.
Yeah, I thought it was it was either last weekend or the weekend before. As in, not this weekend, just gone, as in the previous two.
Yeah, Forest has got some serious injuries, actually. They got Douglas...
including the owner, allegedly.
Yeah. Oh, look, Zinchenko's injured again. Groin. That's what he had before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's a groin injury.
Yeah, as long as
just a recurrence.
As long as they're still covering his wages and there isn't a deal that if he doesn't play...
No, there'll be a deal that he can return in January. That's probably the only deal we got.
Hopefully that's our choice rather than theirs.
Yeah, probably.
I'm talking, apart from the fact we don't need him right now financially, that's not a headache we need.
Yeah, we definitely don't. But yeah, in the Sunderland game, the Calafiori's runs were key to Leo getting the space to create. Do you agree with that?
I thought less so this.
Yeah, I thought it was not quite so energetic this time, but it certainly has been the case.
I was going to say I agree with the general point, but
yeah, I think maybe in the second half that was probably a point, but I don't think he was as good as he's been in previous games. But that's purely down to fatigue as well, I would have thought.
I think so. It's not just the matches; it's the travelling as well.
Well, we had three away games on the bounce. Obviously, one was in Prague, so it's not going to be easy, is it?
No, exactly, and that's where, as I say, if I don't put it down to Arteta at the weekend, because I think they were international mistakes, as we said, individual mistakes, as we sort of said earlier. But I think if I was going to be critical, my criticism of him would be actually probably should have made the substitutions a little bit earlier because I thought we looked tired. But and Calafiori embodied that in many ways.
Yeah, the thing is that you don't know what the situation is with the players on the bench. So everybody's going, well, the manager should have done this, the manager should have done that. Well, unfortunately, we don't see him in training, so
Exactly.
we
It's
haven't got
almost
medical reports and whatnot. It's all well and good saying that's the case and that should happen and that's the be all and end all. But
but as you say, we don't know. It's like, I riled against it last year when Ben White went for surgery. Well, Mikel Arteta overrode the medical staff. Oh, did you get the reports? Did you?
yeah, you
Oh,
must report. Yeah,
what manager would do that? You might do it in April if you're in a title run in. You might try and risk it, like the medical staff going, he needs an op. Can we get him through? You might, but you don't do it at the start of the summer. Like, it just didn't make sense. But
no,
also,
it made no sense whatsoever.
as you say, we don't know. But there's
Yeah,
no way that you look at the other days. Even Mendy sat out training because that was what the medical staff advised. So he sat
yeah.
out training. Any manager worth their salt doesn't routinely ignore the medical advice.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think he does that. I think that's just an over exaggeration
I think it's an agenda.
by outers and such like. And I watched a confrontation. Let's go with confrontation, where one fan is wanting to meet up with another fan to have a fisticuffs because
After the game.
No, this is in a YouTube today.
Oh, right. I haven't seen this. Carry on.
So basically, there's a hyperbolic outer and a hyperbolic inner, right? So that it's like no middle ground whatsoever. So the in guy didn't like what the out guy was saying, and he's basically saying, well, you're basically I can't remember how he put it, but it was basically getting off on the fact that we've actually dropped points. They were basically the outers like acting like a bit like a child and going, oh, such and such. Just basically taking the piss, and then it ended up, he was like, come on then, let's meet up then. You're like, right, okay, I get it, everybody's kind of stressed and whatever, and I get the whole, you're just waiting for people to kind of drop points, drop the ball, so you can blame the manager. But I actually agree with I agree with sentiments from both sides,
as is often the case.
And what I agreed with most though was the in guy, and I'm not in or out. I'm Arsenal, always have been. I think it's in Arsenal's interests right now to support the manager, to support everything and get behind everything, rather than to be on streams every day criticizing what managers do. Especially since we're 6 points clear of Chelsea and 4 points clear of City. I think we should just get behind that. But he was basically saying, we're in the position we are, then, you shouldn't be going after the manager at all. It just doesn't make any sense. And he was basically saying the only thing that you've got to pick up on is that we went to 5 at the back.
Yeah.
And you're like,
which I don't think was the cause of the loss.
But we've done that before.
Yeah.
We've done it many times before and we didn't lose points.
I said it earlier, Brighton, Crystal Palace, we did it in both those games, saw them both
exactly.
out. And that's just 2 examples off the top of my head.
So Khalid said, interesting. Name names. I'm not naming names at all. I'm not that guy.
I can't help you because I don't know it, but I'm.
No, I it's just a point of reference. I'm not doing that. So
well, I tend not to either because
I'm not interested in getting into any kind of wars or anything like that. I'll just go with honesty. I'm using it as an example for a conversation. That's all.
Yeah, I don't like all the drama stuff. Like, I think
No, it's
it makes us a laughing stock. It's unnecessary.
well, this is the thing. The whole chat is basically going. This is why we hate Arsenal fans. You're like, well, why? Because you've basically got one side and one the other side, and which bit do you hate? So it's like, well, and I'm just like, well, I'm right in the middle of these two. So I'm not either.
Well,
So
that's kind of how it is. But what I mean by it's why people laugh at it is because when you have things like, right, let's go and have a fight. Why?
yeah.
Have a good debate, no problem. Like, great,
Yeah,
brilliant.
but calling, I think what really got him, the one guy called him a see you next Tuesday,
Mm.
and
Is that the date
because
of the fight? Is it?
maybe, but yeah, these people are like, oh, you're in a cult because you're Arteta in or whatever, and you're like, well. Well, isn't it cultish what you do? You basically wait for the downfall to jump
Yeah,
on it to do whatever. So you can't really criticize when you do the same thing, just in reverse.
yeah. I
It's
mean,
just mad.
I'm with you. My view is that, I suppose if I had to be in a camp, as it were, I'd probably be more Arteta in because I believe that he's a manager that can take us and win us trophies. But ultimately, if he doesn't, then, I want someone that can because ultimately Arsenal being successful is what we all support the club for. But I can't understand this mentality of Arsenal suddenly drop points and people come out the woodwork. I mean, I
No,
was
mad.
slightly tongue in cheek yesterday. I was on a podcast that came out today, and we were sort of also talking about this point. And to the tune of 1 week by Bear Lake His Ladies, I said, "It's been 9 games since you messaged me, cocked your head to the side, and said Arteta makes me angry." And I had people that haven't messaged me for weeks going, "This is why the manager's got to go." Like nothing about the 8 game
Nothing,
winning run.
nothing. You just sitting there waiting. And if you're watching that game, right, and if you're watching those games and going and critiquing it and going, well, that's what I don't like about the system. That's what I don't like about the system. That's not what how I want to see us play. I can understand that, but if you're just not, if you're just waiting for the points to drop and then going that,
Yeah.
right, that's why I don't listen to you.
I'm exactly the same. There are in every game you could go out tomorrow and play Spurs and win 5-0, and there'd still
Yeah,
be something in the game that wasn't quite right,
yeah.
you know, and that's absolutely fine. There are things that I don't like the fact that we overlap, or I don't like the fact that the fullback inverts. That's
Yeah.
absolutely fine.
Fine. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No problem with that. Whatever,
Yeah.
whatever.
It's a
But
critique. That's
but
perfectly fine.
but waiting, and I do try and be fair. I do like to sort of go, look, this is how one side's seeing it, this is how the other side's seeing it, this is kind of my view. Um, because I think that's a fair way to judge it, and is how I try and sort of talk about the game, and it's a sort of different way to the emotions. The emotions, obviously, on Saturday when that 94th minute goal went in, were,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Exactly. We all flipped,
yeah,
and everybody flipped out, and and then everybody went. Actually, it's a draw.
yeah,
And all right, yes, now we've got City chasing us.
yeah,
But they're chasing us.
yeah, and also, who wins every single game in the season?
Nobody. If anybody thought that we were going to go the whole season unbeaten from Liverpool, it absolutely baffling that you think you're going to win every single game from that point.
Yeah,
It's just mental.
It's why the Invincibles are the Invincibles, because it happened once,
It
right?
will never be done again. It still will never be done again. And obviously we got Wolves to thank for that one. But you get to a point and that's it. Really, it's just. But it just baffles me. What? Surely you just want your team to do well.
Yeah.
And he like I said, he critique the wins as well. It's like these people that go, "Oh, you won a game and you're still moaning about the referee." That's to show that I've got balance.
Yeah,
that's to show that even though we won, I'm annoyed with this, and that all that does is just show that I'm not reactionary because I don't just do it when we lose. I point it out when we win as well.
And I think it's also, and we've discussed it on this show, where we've said, there was a penalty given for Arsenal or not given for Arsenal, where we have actually said, actually, I thought the referee got it right. We both were critical of the Gyökeres Nick Pope. We both thought that was a penalty. But I think I can't think of another example this year. But we've also both said where we felt the referee made the right decision. I can't remember an example off the top of my head, but you tend to remember the ones that go against you than the ones that go for
And
you.
I think we actually called out one as well, which I thought was quite fortunate that we actually got a free kick from that position.
Yeah.
And
I just can't remember what it was now. But
I can't remember now, but yeah, like you say, you remember the ones that go against you a bit better. But
yeah, exactly.
Khalid says, "Who knew a draw away to a current top 4 team would cause such conflict?" Well, we've said before, Sunderland are a good side,
yeah,
and they've just come into the league without any fear, and they're literally just giving it a go.
Yeah, and right now they're on great form, as you say, nothing to fear. But it's also that crowd was rocking. It's their first sort of big side they've had come to the Stadium of Light. I
did have to laugh at the commentators though, where they've gone, they're really clever, really ingenious because they've brought the advertising boards forward.
I'm sure that was never done before. Every time Stoke visits the ground.
Yeah, it was not even that. They've done it to counteract our no goals scored from throw-ins.
I know.
Well, you guys in the media have just inflicted that on them, and they might have won that game because they're more prolific from throw-ins than we are. So the media might actually cost them that game.
Possibly. I mean, I kind of like that sort of stuff. I find it quite amusing when teams do that. But you're exactly right. We scored 0 goals from long throws this season.
Absolute nonsense.
I said to someone, they went, "No, you've scored at least 3 or 4. We've scored 0." And
0, mate.
And they weren't an Arsenal fan, so I didn't expect them to know that. They were a Tottenham fan. They went, and
no, because you got the hyperbole in the idiot, the thing on Sky Sports, basically going on. I'm talking about throw-ins. Well, you can talk about throw-ins, but we haven't scored any. So why are you talking about us and throw-ins? Why? It just doesn't make any sense. You're just trying to get your team an advantage, or what? What are you trying to do? I don't exactly know.
As I said, I had no problem with this guy not knowing the answer because why would you? But he's like, like the way the narrative goes on, I thought you must have scored 3 or 4. He hadn't checked,
exactly.
And he wasn't critical of the fact that Arsenal were scoring throw-ins. He genuinely didn't know. He just because of the way things were being said, he just assumed we must have got 3 or 4.
Absolutely. But that's how narratives go, isn't it? They don't check the narrative out; they just follow it.
No, I mean, as you said, if it was about his team, he'd have checked it and would have, because he said, there's a narrative.
Be like, no, they don't. No, they don't. This and the other. But obviously, there's no reason to check it, is there? Because you're just following the narrative.
Yeah, but he said, it annoys him about his side, Tottenham. It's like, well, the bubbles burst from Frank. He said, yes, well, it has, but we were never going to keep going like this. We're trying to build the side now because it's not ready to win the league. We haven't bottled the league, but that's a narrative going around about Tottenham. It's not...
Yeah, but this is the thing. You had a new manager bounce. You found a new way of playing. You bought into it, and a few teams were surprised by it, weren't ready for it. You played maybe a lesser team, and they weren't prepared for your tactics.
Yeah.
And now you got a bit further down the line. People just seen how you play, and they figure you out. If it's not, because what he's done is basic. All he's done is what we said and should have done. Is drop them back 5 yards, play solidly from the back, and then go through the gears.
Yeah, and he's also
start with that, and then we put some tactics in after.
Yeah, and he's also of the view that it's going to be 2 or 3 years before the squad's ready to really compete.
Yeah.
There's no sort of no surprise there, or there shouldn't be. Because Tottenham, everyone's going, well, they won the Europa League last year. I mean, I think
17th.
Yeah, I think that neither really say where Tottenham were. Tottenham were better than 17th.
Papered over the biggest cracks in the world, and that's what did they say about us for how many years? Where top 4's not a trophy, this, that, and the other, or it's papering over the cracks, it's doing this, that, and the other. Yeah, but it gets you in the conversation in the first place. It's a stepping stone.
Yeah,
Yeah, it brings you more money in, so you can spend more money. It's just simple as that.
Yeah.
You know, it's a business, isn't it? At the end of the day, and the longer that you're not in it, the less you can spend. And United are finding that out.
Yep.
Even a
And they're,
club them size.
and they're one of the biggest sort of clubs from the point of view of revenue raising. Well, they are in England. I think still the biggest revenue raisers, if you take out competition money. And their
Yeah.
sponsorship deals are reduced because they're not in Europe.
Well, yeah, but they don't. Instantly reduce. But I think they've got a 2-year window. But if they get back in, then it won't hit them. And if they don't, then it will hit them. And the more players don't get their bonuses for being in Europe, Champions League, doing whatever.
Except Onana.
Well, that's what I mean. They said, well, we're not in Europe, so you don't get your extra European money. And he's just gone, see you later then, hasn't he? That's what happened.
Yep. And you can't attract... to attract the players, you either have to overpay for them then, or you don't attract them.
Which they're trying to get away from. So you haven't got Champions League football or European football at all. You don't want to overpay, so who are you getting?
Yeah.
And United are obviously getting better now, but you got to kind of get to a point where you're just going, well, you've got to do something now, or you lose the notoriety to actually bring those players in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. And you could see it with Arsenal from some extent.
Zinchenko. Who wants to come to Arsenal?
Yeah, at that point. And I'm not criticising, by the way, Zinchenko. Zinchenko, I think, in that first season in particular, made a big difference, him and Jesus.
Yeah.
I've not got a problem with the Jesus fee or the contract. Obviously, it's not panned out because he got that big knee injury and then got another. Zinchenko, at the time, I thought, that's an overpay, it's an overpay on wages. But it's a really important signing, and he had to be done because otherwise you don't get Zinchenko and you don't get other players. And as a result, if you want to build, you have to overpay to get some proven players, and you have to get lucky with some development players that come through. And by development, I don't mean like a Miles Lewis-Skelly or Saka, and that obviously helped. But I mean Gabriel Magalhaes, right? Gabriel Martinelli. These were cheap signings, relatively, that have come really good in the case of Gabriel Magalhaes and have come good in the case of Martinelli. But equally, Lokonga, Tavares are,
we talked about it last week, when we? It's just like basically, if you're going for budget versions, a bit like Chelsea are doing now, to be fair, then you're going to get hits and you're going to get misses.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. The problem
is partly what's going to happen when you're trying to build the side.
Yeah, because you're not going to get the continuity. That's the thing. So it's a bit of a weird one. Khalid said if they get so riled up after a draw away to a good side, then they would never believed we could win it in any way. Exactly. Or they were laying in wait, knowing that it was going to go tits up. I would argue as well that if they actually got on board with supporting the team in the first place, and I don't just mean in the stadium, I mean on the internet as well, then maybe that encourages the team a little bit more, that there's not so many doubters, there's not as much hate around. That's
well, it fuels into that narrative, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Why does, and I'm picking on Jamie Carragher here, but he's not alone, but why does Jamie Carragher or Jamie O'Hara talk about this? Obviously, O'Hara's a Tottenham fan, so, you can understand, slightly more. But why do they talk about it? Well, there's two things. One, there's nervousness Arsenal might win. I think that's true. But secondly, because there is that element of Arsenal fans that think like that, and therefore you're attracting the clicks and the likes and the bloops, right?
Yeah, also, it's setting up for failure as well. So the more you're kind of putting it in there and you're putting it out of there or whatever, the more that's kind of going on.
Yeah.
The more that's it just gets there, and you build them up like Neville was doing. Oh yeah, it's theirs to lose, this, that, and the other, and they do that and this, that, and the other. And when if and when the implosion happens, look, told you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think Neville actually does believe they're going to win. He sort of has said it for a couple of years, but but I
Don't
think
think he's genuine though. I really
I
don't.
don't know. I don't know, but but I thought the it's theirs to lose narrative is way over the top, right?
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
ridiculous at this stage of a
That's
season.
why I don't think he's genuine.
Yeah, well, you could well be right. I mean, who knows? But I think your point that I really want to pick up on there was about the fans being together. Again, it's something that's been criticised in the media. Mikel Arteta says he can't do it without the fans. No, he's saying the team need the fans. Every team needs the fans to be behind them. And if you are together trying to build something, and whatever it is, whether it's football, whether it's in your workplace, whatever it
Yeah.
is, if you're
How many
trying to do
times
it
did
together,
Klopp come
you're more
out?
likely to be successful.
Yeah, how many times did Klopp come out and say, get get behind it, do whatever, just
All
rile
this,
it up?
all
Yeah.
this stuff. Yeah, I can't, I'm not going to fault Jurgen Klopp for that.
No, absolutely
It's
not. No,
perfect.
but yeah, I see Liverpool fans that basically go, he's embarrassing, he's shameful because he does that, and you're like, what? I don't understand.
Yeah,
I don't really
Klopp
get
did
it.
it, and no problem. So he should. It's an
Yeah,
advantage.
no,
The reason you play at home is because it's an advantage, and one of the
of
advantages
course.
you've got 90% of the fans in the stadium on your side,
Yeah,
or in theory.
it's just, but yeah. Well, apart from us, apparently,
Yeah.
yeah, we got the half the stadium and the other half haters.
First message I got after the
And
draw on Sunderland was actually second message. The first message was, "Are you okay for a match reaction?" Which was that, but the second message I got was, "See, this is why the manager's got to go."
who said that?
That's someone I know. Don't worry, but it's just like we just basically gone 9 games without conceding when you factor in when the goals went in.
Well, this is the thing, this is what the other guy basically turned around and said, and he said, "Well, I haven't seen you on any match reactions when we've won, and we drew, and now you're on one. So what was it? It was just like, oh, I was busy, this, that, and the other." And you're like, yeah, were you really though, or do you just want to revel in it when we're not doing so well?
Yeah, I find it odd. I really do. But there we go.
Yeah. Apparently, Erdegaard's gone. Obviously, with the national side, the national coach has basically turned around and said that he's nowhere near ready. He still wants extensive recovery. So obviously, we'll take of that what you will. There was a message that went around today that some of the senior squad were actually going to play in the under 21s to get up to speed.
That hasn't happened.
So whether they were actually ready at this point or whether they're not, we don't know. Whether he they put something out there to make it look like they were going to be ready, and then it doesn't happen, so it looks like they're not ready, and then all of a sudden they are ready. These are just mind games, right?
I think so. I mean, I discussed the sort of behind closed doors friendly might be a really good way to get these players, if they are close to fitness, sort of some match sharpness, because a friendly isn't a real game, but it's more intense than training. If from the match perspective, training can be more intense physically, but from a match perspective, nothing sort of can replicate it. And I think Arsenal have got some really tough games straight after the international break. It's Tottenham, Bayern, Chelsea. So I think some minutes in the legs would be really, really useful. But so I wonder if Arsenal will do a behind closed doors friendly, but I'm not necessarily shocked to see them not playing tonight. The under 21s manager isn't going to necessarily want them playing. Of course, if Mikel Arteta says to, Max Porter.
Yeah, if he's going to overrule them, he's going to overrule them.
Yeah.
Maybe that was a discussion that they've had internally, and maybe it's not mind games at all. Maybe it's just literally, well, we were going to do that. The under 21s manager has basically kicked that can and gone, yeah, ain't happening, mate.
But it also could be that Arsenal would rather play a friendly game for them rather than a competitive game to get them back in,
maybe
reduce the risk of injury. Maybe the medical staff said not quite ready yet. Better to get some more, a couple more training in. It happened to Ewan Timber when his return. He played an under 21s game. Blackburn, I think it was. He scored, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, I did score.
And then
Yeah.
he was due to play the next under-21 game and didn't. The medical staff said, we don't think he's capable. So, we don't know what's happened, but I think these guys are going to be close to ready to come back. The pinch of salt really has to be applied to the Norwegian manager's comments. I wonder if there's been a discussion between Arsenal and Norway about the narrative there, because Arsenal, of course, very secretive about stuff. I understand why Martin Odegaard wants to be there, because this could be, the first time in, 28 years, well, 27 years, because we're not in 2026 yet, but Norway will have qualified for World Cup. He's the captain of Norway.
He's the captain, so obviously he can still do the team talks.
Yeah, exactly.
But he just can't be on the pitch. So yeah.
And he'll want to be there, right? So I understand from his point of view. I can understand from Norway's point of view. I am surprised Arsenal let him go, though. Which maybe suggests he's not quite as close to a comeback as maybe we might have hoped.
He's closer.
Who knows? Or alternatively, yes.
He's closer.
But if he's closer, you'd probably want him back with Arsenal, right? But Arsenal couldn't stop him. This really annoyed me last year, so I'm going to get this off my chest. Last year, when he went and got injured on international duty, everyone's going, "Wow, we should have stopped him." We cannot stop him if he is called up for a competitive game, because they are entitled to call him up. And unless the player wants to back out themselves, the club cannot pull them out. They cannot pull them out under the rules. It changed after Alex Ferguson and others kept pulling them out. But this one, presumably they could have stopped him going, because he is genuinely injured and he's not been called up to play. But, Mikel Arteta and Martin Odegaard, I'm sure, will have had the discussion, And actually, do you want to piss off Martin Odegaard, your captain, who wants to be there for that, over something that doesn't make that much difference? But I do find it odd that he's there. But I can understand why he does want to be there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see anything really wrong with it, so long as. But if he's just training or just, well, this is what kind of leads me to it. It's like, oh, he's going to keep up his rehabilitation. Well, surely, if he needs to keep his rehabilitation up, then he needs to be at home. Unless
Arsenal sent a doctor out, or Norway have said we will follow the plan that he's on at Arsenal. But I agree with you. That's what makes it odd.
But yeah,
rehabilitate at home was much better, surely.
This is why I think it's maybe just stamina training rather than anything else, and he's just he's not strong enough to play, rather than your alternative, maybe.
Well, I think
maybe,
right.
I'm looking at maybe I'm airing too much on optimism. I don't know.
I mean, my view is that he's further away, but we'll find out. As Khalid says here, Mikel very good at the mind games. I don't like the ambiguous answer. On the status of injured players either. As a fan, you want to know what's going on, but you can understand why he does it.
I actually do like it. I just think if the number of times, right, especially over the last few years, that we can name that lineup, it's not a game of name that tune. It's basically name the name, name your own name, and then you've got the lineup. Do you know what I mean? The number of times that we can literally just put it out there, and you get everything spot on.
Yeah.
The only thing, in injuries, obviously.
Yeah. But this is what I mean on the injuries. I don't, so and so's definitely out, or I understand why he does it. From a fan, I'd like to know: is Jesus ready? Is Havertz ready? But I understand why he doesn't do it, because you want to keep the lineup a surprise. I agree with you there. But from a fan, you want to know: is Saka fit? Is Saliba fit? But if I was a manager,
but if we've got that information, so has the other team. Exactly. So basically, it's a case of, well, you'll find out when I put the team sheet out, and I kind of like that, and I quite find it quite funny. I also quite find it quite funny when they're basically saying that he said things that he hasn't said at all. Like this use of AI. Did you see that one, Richard Keys?
Yes, yeah.
And you're like, he said, "Oh, if there's something we can do it, but there's a human element, this, that, and the other." And when he's talking to Andy Gray, Andy Gray's going, "But they're humans, they're humans." And you're just like, Yeah, and also said that in his interview. But
You
but
left
don't
that
show the interview. Don't show the interview and let him answer it for himself. You just mock up and just make up what he's actually said. You do that, mate, and that's the way to go, isn't it?
it really, that also really annoys me. Not just, and this isn't just a Mikel Arteta thing, just in general. Like, that's not what he said. He answered a hypothetical question about AI. It was a hypothetical question. Why would you not use it if it's going to provide you an advantage anyway? And he also said it doesn't detract from the human element of
Yeah,
making a decision, gut feelings, and treating the players like human beings. He was very clear on that. And to
yeah.
your point, that was left out of that discussion.
We wasn't. He was actually brought into the discussion as a negative that he was doing it in spite of that, when he's actually specifically said that he was considering it.
Yeah, no, but that's what I mean. It was left out of the discussion in terms of
Yeah.
it was left out that he said that. They didn't mention that at all. They just mentioned
Ah,
the first bit that he was going to use it, and that,
yeah.
and I've seen that before as well. You know, it was like, do you remember last season with the ball?
Yeah,
It was
we and we were going to Newcastle the next day, the next weekend,
yeah,
and they kept running with the same narrative, and they tried it again, didn't they, with the interviewer, and he just basically refused to answer it.
yeah, because what he'd actually was asked is
Is the ball different?
is the ball different? Yes, and he said yes, it moves differently in the air. He wasn't saying that was the reason they lost at all.
And he
He was
also said that it's the same for everybody.
yes,
And they completely left that out. And Newcastle fans, to this day, basically going, oh, it must be the ball and this, that, and the other. And you're playing into a narrative. You haven't even checked the facts. You're literally just playing to the tune that they want you to play to.
yeah. I mean, from a banter point of view, I can understand it, but it's not factually correct, right? And if you're actually using it to criticise rather than to have a bit of a laugh, I play football on a Friday with a Newcastle fan, and before the match at St James's Park, he picked up the ball at the end of the game, and went, is this going to be all right for Sunday? And it was really funny, like as a bit of a joke, but it was clearly a joke rather than anything else. But if it was a serious point, which from Steve, it really wasn't on that one. It was
Yeah.
genuinely tongue in cheek. Like, that's not what he said.
No, it's not. It's just not what I said. It's just a lie.
Yeah,
and yeah, and that's what made me laugh at the boards, the advertising boards thing. You're like, but you clearly haven't checked the stats.
no.
All you had to do is go into who scored or whoever, and check how many throw-ins were scored.
And their own stats people will have had the stats anyway. You check it, as you say.
Yeah. So why do it? But anyway,
I mean, I quite like that sort of thing when it happens. Like I find, anything, like the old Crazy Gang used to play the radio, or make sure the hot water was off. That sort of thing. I think anything you can do to get an advantage at home, is all right with me. But equally, as you say, on this one, you've probably actually disadvantaged your own side when you're better at it than we are.
yeah. I mean, it's like when you play the ball along the ground, you don't cut the grass, or you don't water the grass. I've seen that a few times where they don't water the grass, and I think it was Sean Dyche did it against when we played Burnley. It was a few years ago now, and he watered. I was in the ground, and they watered half the pitch.
Oh wow!
They literally watered half the pitch.
Amazing.
But they screwed up, and they watered the wrong half. So they basically wanted to water the half that we were kicking in, and we normally, when we win the toss, we normally choose a certain direction to play the ball in, and obviously they've seen which end they've watered, and they must have gone every time they've picked the thing, they're going to kick that way, and obviously we're going to kick that way, and we'd obviously seen which side they watered, and we won the toss, and we kicked the opposite way.
Nice, I love that.
So it's like, yeah, Doesn't always work, does it?
I mean, like I say, I love the sort of thought process behind
The
it. I really do.
ingenuity. I mean, it was Portsmouth, I think, where it's the away changing room. They had it fitted out. They had it all the things fitted, everything brand new, and they sent the caretaker in there with a hammer. So basically, smash a couple of doors up and just leave them hanging off, and this, that, and the other to make it a bit more uncomfortable. And you're like, not sure why you'd need to do that, but
That's not going to make much difference, right? You know,
you wouldn't have thought, but they still do it apparently. So yeah, good luck to them, innit?
yeah, you know, sometimes they work, sometimes they won't. But you know, I like I say, I don't mind that sort of stuff. I find that quite funny. But
Yeah, definitely. Let's look at the other games at the weekend then. The early game was Tottenham against Man United. Finished 2-2. I mean, it was a bit of a crazy game, to be honest. I don't know if you watched that.
yeah. I've only seen the highlights, but
Yeah. So it was a bit weird, and then he basically had right at the end, you had Richarlison taking his shirt off and celebrating like he won the match, a bit like Trossard did, actually. To be fair, so I can't really berate him too much, but it was
if he had real mentality, he'd have grabbed the ball and take it back to the halfway.
right. I mean, that's the real deal, isn't it? Is basically go and get another goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, it ended.
That one.
Yeah, so it ended up 2-2, and yeah, they did have Sesko did go off. I can't remember when he went off because
last
they
10 minutes United had
yeah because they did say that they were playing with 10 men, and I was like, what? There's normally a red card indicator, and I didn't know what it was at the time, and it was obviously Sesko went off injured. So United did well to actually pull it back to 2-2, didn't they? Really?
Yeah, no, I thought it was a good result for both sides in many ways. United on good form, Tottenham, you know, a better side. But Tottenham's poor home form continues. You know, they've been terrible at home. I think they've only now 6 home defeats at their new stadium behind Arsenal. And obviously Arsenal have been at the Emirates a lot.
48-42, I believe,
I think
and
that's right, yeah.
yeah, and theirs opened in 2019. Ours opened in 2006.
Yeah. I mean, again, I thought United's defensive display was slightly was poor, but you know, United will be pleased with this. What 4 games now in all, you know, they haven't lost. And you know, I think that's something that Amrin has turned around. When no one's talking about him losing his job anymore at the moment, you know, that narrative has slightly calmed down. So I thought a good result for both sides. Odd game, good game to watch. It wasn't necessarily high on quality, but it was entertaining for sure.
Yeah, and I think it was the right result as well. To be fair, I think both teams could have won it, but I think it was fair that it was a draw. Especially, you know, you don't want a player going off injured and reducing the team to 10 men. To be fair,
No, and again, resilience from United, right? You're down to 10 men. You've gone 2-1 down in what, the 92nd minute? Was very late, and not very late, very early into injury time, but after 90 minutes, and still came back. Bruno, wasn't it? If I remember rightly, with the goal. I can't remember how he scored it now, but
yeah, I can't remember, to be honest. But yeah, so obviously they're Tottenham are down to 5th. Well, it shows it. Where on my screen it shows him going up, but they were 3rd, weren't they, at the start of the weekend?
Yeah, I think they go up because bizarre way it works depending on when the games were, but they were certainly ahead of 5th. I thought going into the weekend, they must have been because Chelsea won, and
Chelsea weren't there, so it wasn't. I don't think Sunderland really moved. No. So yeah, it's a bit weird how they've got that one, but there we go. Everton beat Fulham 2-0. To be honest, I didn't watch that, so I don't really.
I mean, I didn't watch it, but I think the interesting thing from my point of view is Fulham now, where Fulham are. All doesn't seem well. Marco Silva wasn't happy with the summer transfer business or lack of, and there wasn't a lot of there.
Well, there were a lot of outgoings, weren't there? More than anything, and they really didn't replace anybody.
No,
and 4 losses out of 5.
1 point above the relegation zone. There is
One
talk that he
point.
might be replaced during the international
Yeah,
break.
there's a lot of noise now that's about Marco Silva, but I think it's more he's trying to escape rather than anything else. To be honest.
I was just going to say it reminds me very much of his time at Hull and Everton.
Yeah, it reminds me of a Nuno situation, to be honest.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want to take the sinking ship down. So I think he's he wants out of there. I think by the looks of that.
Yes, I agree. I think he's done a good job at Fulham, by the way.
Yeah, I think he did get good resources. He's been backed, but I think that they've
They've run out
kind
of
of
resources.
they've let him down this season.
Yeah.
But maybe they've kind of got to the point where PSR and whatever's kind of caught up with them.
Yep.
It's got to happen in 3-year period or not at all, and it kind of restricts them. So it's I do feel sorry for him for that point of view anyway. But yeah, Everton moved out of the relegation zone or clearer of it.
They're up to 11th now.
They're up to 11th, yeah. But I mean, the table's so tight. It really is. It's just crazy.
I've just come off it. Is it 5 points separating something like third?
You know, Liverpool are 8th with 18 points. They're obviously on equal points with Spurs, Villa, Man United, Liverpool, Bournemouth, right?
Yep. 5 points, 13th to 3rd. I've just reloaded it.
Well, they're 8 points off the top, yeah?
Yeah.
And 8 points off 17th.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know we're only 11 games into the season, but
yeah, but yeah, and people are saying that a 4-point lead is not a lot. But if you're considering that, you know, so if you're Newcastle in 14th with 12 points, it's probably not going to work with them. Okay, we'll go with Everton in 15th. You give them 4 more points. They're 13th with 15 points.
Yeah.
You give them 4 more points to 19, and they're 4th.
Yeah, it's I mean, from my point of view, it means the title race isn't over with 4 points, but it is a decent advantage at this point in the season.
I think it just makes the argument that anybody can beat anybody.
Yeah.
So you're lucky to have any lead, and any lead you have, then you need to keep that going, and then basically wait for City to get beat, basically. But
and they lost to Aston Villa just last weekend, right? As in the weekend before,
Yeah, so they're on the same. They're won 4 out of 5, but they did lose the Villa game. So obviously it is what it is. But
I mean, basically we've extended our lead over them by a point, which is pretty decent. Yes,
since the last international break, yeah,
they had a slightly harder run of fixtures to us, but ultimately, before the previous one, we'd had a harder run of fixtures.
Yeah, for sure. We the first international break, I think we were harder.
Yep.
I think the second one was theirs, and we're 4 points ahead. So albeit we got beat in that first stretch, and drew with City. So it's not all doom and gloom, is it? Obviously we'd all preferred a win against Sunderland, but I think we've kind of discussed that one to its due.
Yep.
But yeah, I think City are on for a thing. I never really understood the underdog gimmick anyway. I always thought, especially since they spent 450 million in the 2 windows gone, they should be in a title race anyway.
They spent, them and Liverpool actually have spent more money than Arsenal this calendar year.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So in fact, nearly double.
Yeah. So yeah, and I mean, for me, I thought pre-season, it's clear. I think it's going to be wrong. Although Liverpool are capable of going on a run, and I'll be very quick on this. Liverpool are, and Arsenal in the title race, because I just felt something was missing City defensively, and they were missing something in midfield.
Yeah.
But I feel that next season they are going to be the big challengers. It looks like they're going to be the challengers this season, but I would certainly back Arsenal over City right now. I really would.
Yeah, I think you're right, but I think they're going to be like we were like season before last, so they're going to push it for so long, and then they'll just fall away. I think towards
I
the
think
end.
that's exactly what which is not normally what City do, but I think they will have a sticky patch at some point.
Yeah, it's not a normal City season anyway. The fact that they've kind of transitioned, if you like, but
Pep
yeah,
will say it's a transition season. Of course, he will. It makes sense from the coach's perspective to say that. But I actually think he probably does think if we can get something this season, great. But it's next season where I'm really targeting. I think that's really how he sees it. Honestly, I really do.
yeah. I think he thinks it'd be amazing if he does it, if he wins the title this year.
Yeah,
And uh, we obviously hope he doesn't.
yeah,
So,
very much so.
yeah. West Ham 3-2 Burnley. No real surprise there for me, to be honest.
No, good win for West Ham. I mean, I've never really bought into the narrative that West Ham were definitely going down. And, I felt when they hired Nuno, it was a good appointment.
Yeah, I kind of ran with the West Ham narrative purely because they think they're the same stature as we are,
What do you mean? They're European champions.
European champions and all that nonsense.
European champions and Champions League winners. Can we just be clear on that?
Yeah, exactly. Even when Tottenham are doing it with the Europa League, you're just like, you're not champions of Europe.
No.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Paris
33rd.
Saint-Germain, champions of Europe.
Yeah, 33rd in Europe.
Yeah.
That's about where you are.
37, 36.
Granted, we didn't win ours. Granted that you can give that. We can beat us with that stick. Not a problem. I'm not saying we did win a trophy. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying it's not the big one.
No,
it is still a major. Completely with that. But
first trophy for 2006 was it?
17 years. So when people basically say, "Oh, you beat Arsenal to a trophy," no, you didn't. We won a trophy 5 years ago. You won one 17 years ago. So
and we won others in between as well.
So yeah. So you didn't, did you? But yeah, Khalid says they'll drop off at some point. I believe that as well. I think I don't think they've got the depth in the squad that they normally have, and I don't wish injuries on anybody, but it's kind of the nature of the beast that injuries happen. Yeah, and at some point, just I mean, I don't know if I should say it. Do Holland's goals dry up? I don't know. I mean, the guy's a machine, so who knows? Chelsea beat Wolves 3-0. I mean, the championship side could beat Wolves right now, I think.
Yeah. I mean, are you surprised that Rob Edwards is taking that job from Borough?
Yes. But yes and no. Yeah. It's a bit of a sinking ship as well, isn't it? So I don't really get it. Is in a stable job, and
got a good chance of going up.
Yeah, had a good chance of going up, didn't they? But yeah. But that's it. I think Chelsea will drop off as well. I think they've played. I think they've played the easier fixtures, if you like, and I'm not saying that they won't do well against some better sides, but I don't think they'll do well against them all.
Well, I likened it to us on that sort of first unexpected title run, that the squad just isn't quite mature enough yet. It's deeper, but it's not mature enough for me.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the thesis of the club though, and I did see that I don't know if you've seen it, that Rodrigo is on the market.
Yeah, being linked heavily with Chelsea.
And yeah, he's basically linked with Chelsea, but he's also linked with us again. I don't know if that's passed. I think, yeah, if we can get him as a loan signing in January, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think that's the only way we get him.
Yeah, I can't see
Just
it being a permanent signing. It's a loan signing with a view to a permanent deal.
yeah,
But if I'm Rodrigo, I don't know. Where do I wait for the summer even, or short-term loan deal? I don't know.
I think Rodrigo's waited too long anyway. I think he should have gone last summer, and that's what I'm saying. He basically relied on the manager's words to keep him there, rather than going, I want to be the main dog somewhere and carry a team.
It must also be a wrench to leave Real Madrid as well. To be fair,
Yes, but what I'm saying is he already knew that he wasn't getting what he was being told he was getting.
No, I agree with you, but I mean, just from an emotional point of view, from his point of view, even if he knew deep down that he wasn't going to get what he was hoping for, it must still be a difficult one to turn around and go, I want to leave Real Madrid. Odegaard mentioned it, I think as well, when he had to go.
As I say, I can see why. I can see why. However, there's a lot of options in that team and in that position.
Yeah, I agree.
And you're not getting a look in. And
And you're too good a player to be sitting on the bench.
But you're too good a player, so you should have just literally in the summer, you should have just gone, right, okay, game's up.
No, I mean, from a footballing perspective, I agree with you totally. I'm just talking from the emotional side. It must be a wrench to leave that side just because, of who they are and what that must mean to be a Real Madrid player. The only way is down from Real Madrid. No side.
Yeah, I'm not saying that that Arsenal's a step up. I'm not saying that.
No, I got that.
I'm not a Liverpool fan. I wouldn't dream of saying that. But yeah. Khalid said, only loan I want is Coyote, so I throw in, so it's just as effective as our corners. No, because everybody moved the advertising boards, don't they? Then, I agree with the sentiment, but he needs to prioritise himself over Real Madrid. I absolutely, completely agree with that, and it literally just needs to be a case of he needs to take emotion out of it.
Yes, yeah, no,
and he needs to think about his football.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just sort of from his perspective, it must be difficult, but I think what you're talking about there is and should have been the decision he should have taken in the summer. It was obvious in the summer, and I think it's just as obvious now. But like I say, it must have been a difficult one from the perspective of what the emotional tie, right?
Yeah, do you just a quick discussion because as we're on the subject, I mean, I was watching another YouTube today and a different one than before, but it was a different one where it's basically saying, would you take Doku over the two wingers we have, as in Trossard and Martinelli?
I think I would take him for the left-hand side because I think Doku will improve. He's still quite a young player. I think he needs to. He needs to sort of. He's really unpredictable. He's got a lot of skills and a lot of pace, and I think he's a really good player. But the problem is his teammates don't know what he's going to do, which makes it a little bit of difficult. But I think he's got a lot in there. But right now, I'm not too unhappy with our options either. And if you were offering me a left winger, even though I think Doku is A, good now and B, can improve, he wouldn't be necessarily my first choice for that. And therefore, the answer is yes, I would, but no, he wouldn't be the one I'd want to do if I'm bringing in a left winger, if that makes sense.
Okay, who's your first choice?
I mean, my first choice is probably Kashvili, or however you say his name, from PSG.
Yeah, Kvaratskhelia, yeah.
Kvaratskhelia, that's it. Yeah, if it's written down or someone says I can do it, but if but I mean, that's not a realistic option, right?
Yeah. So a realistic option. So,
I mean, Rodrigo would be, that is his.
Would he be higher than Semenyo?
But I was going to say, Rodrigo, I think, is in theory a better player. What you don't know is how he transitions across, and he can play right and left. But so can Semenyo, who I think is a really talented winger. If you ask me, would I take Semenyo or Doku? I would take Semenyo. I think he's cheaper. I think he doesn't expect to play the whole time. And I think he is a really talented guy. And I think he's quite a humble guy. And I think he would see Arsenal as a step up as well. So Semenyo would be a really good choice. Rodrigo would be my top choice. But, if you told me I've got Semenyo, then,
and he's an Arsenal fan as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'd agree with that. I was of the kind of opinion, right, that ship sailed, forget about it. It's obviously, you've made your bed, lie in it, sort of thing. But then I've kind of gone to it and just gone, do you know what? There aren't that many options.
No, I mean, it feels like a summer thing for me, but I spoke in the summer about there was a lot of heat around Madueke, and I had no issue with Madueke coming in. The issue was, would it stop us signing Rodrigo? But I also said at the time, Arsenal wanted to get as much of their business done early as possible, and Rodrigo leaving Real Madrid looked unlikely, and it turned out that turned out to be the case, and that's why, even if Rodrigo moved late in the window, I still think Arsenal was sensible to go for a player that wanted to be there, knew the league, and you could get them in early.
And this is another one that's been mooted. That's Rafa Leao.
I think he's a decent player. More than decent, I'm being unfair. And I think he has been excellent for AC Milan. And I think, people sort of talk about his numbers and what have you. I actually think his numbers are quite good because, Serie A is a much more defensive league. I think the top scorer in Serie A has 5 goals this season, which is quite telling.
But and
I
they don't all come through the wingers either.
No, all the strikers, they do tend to get scared around. But I think for me, would I complain about Rafa Leao? No. I think he's a little bit inconsistent, but I think that applies to a lot of wingers. But I can't explain why I would just worry that Rafa Leao would potentially struggle when he comes in. But I can't articulate why. There's no reason why that should happen. It's just a gut feeling with me, which is why I wouldn't have had Leao on my list.
Yeah, I this as well. Madrid quoting up to upwards of 90 million. I don't think they're getting that. That they know that clubs know that they want to sell now.
It's the whole thing of why Arsenal struggle to sell, right? Because we force players out, make it obvious we don't want them.
Exactly. So it basically brings his price tag down, and I think that was 90 million euros actually as well.
Yeah,
so I think it's more like a 70, 80 mark, and I think that's somewhere about right, to be honest. When you think Gittins is going for 55, who else went for Garnacho?
Elanga,
Madueke. Elanga. Is Elanga like the flop of the transfer window?
Well, I kudos again. Another one, but I always thought all of them were slightly.
He's got the assist though, hasn't he, Kudus?
Yeah, I think Kudus has done well at Spurs.
I think he's done well.
But I thought all of them were overpriced. But that was the market, and that was the market value for them, and they've all gone in around that value. I think that's over the top, but that surprised people were willing to pay. But I think the other, Rodrigo, I think, Khalid's right here that actually his value has plummeted. I don't think quite to the 50, but you're probably looking at maybe 50 with add-ons now, whereas in the summer you're probably looking at 70 with add-ons.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So you're getting up to the 70 million euros rather than starting at the 70 million euros, aren't you?
And I think that comes from the fact that he looks like he wants to go, but clearly Alonso doesn't want him, and I think it's the Arsenal issue with why Arsenal can't sell.
Yeah, I dispute this, right? And I disputed it when I wanted Rodrigo in the summer. Rodrigo is physical, but the problem is that he's in a sympathetic team in a sympathetic league, which means that if you're a Real Madrid player and you go down, you're more likely to get a free kick than if you're an Arsenal player.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree entirely.
So the Galactico, whatever it is, kind of takes precedent over everything else. So they get a sympathetic look.
I just also think give a foul easier in Spain, and therefore,
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's a sympathetic league, and they're more sympathetic to Real Madrid, Barcelona, even Atletico to a point.
Yeah, I agree entirely, mostly because that's their league, right? That's
Yeah,
what generates them money. I mean,
yeah.
people will deny that there's a bias there, but I think it's quite
Of
clear.
course, there's a bias because they have the differential between the payouts and prize money.
Well, yeah, I
So
talked about this with you know, people sort of saying, well, Real Madrid can do it every year. Real Madrid get, they win their league they win their league every year. That's what good teams do. Well, it's because they've got such a significant advantage. Look, Arsenal have an advantage over most teams in the league because they've got Champions League money. They earn their own commercial deals, but the prize money, not the prize money, the TV money from the Premier League is split evenly. Then you get extras for however many games you get. It is not the case in La Liga. The difference is massive in what Real Madrid and Barcelona get compared to the others.
yeah, it's
But
so
I agree with you,
huge.
by the way. Rodrigo, I think, is a very physical player.
Yeah, and 2-footed as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he doesn't really have a weak foot as such.
No, I mean,
Um,
I couldn't tell you which one his natural foot is.
yeah, so
I think he is. I think he is left-footed, but I couldn't tell you for definite.
I'm pretty sure he's left.
Yeah, I thought he was, but he prefers the left side as well. That I do.
Yeah, I might have ruined that completely, but I'm pretty sure off the top of my head he's left. But yeah, it doesn't seem to worry him when he runs inside and does whatever anyway. So it doesn't really matter to me. To me, I'd still take Rodrigo, to be honest.
Yes, I would.
I wouldn't take Doku. Answering my own question, I wouldn't take Doku because I don't think he's a big enough upgrade on what we have.
I think he's a marginal upgrade, but like you, he wouldn't be.
That's what I mean. He's marginal, but I wouldn't say spend 60 million on him.
No, I wouldn't.
When you can get Rodrigo for 70, 80 million, whatever.
Yes,
I wouldn't spend that money because I don't think he's a big enough upgrade.
I agree entirely.
Whether Leao fits the Arteta system is another question. I mean, again, I don't know if it's an Arteta system anymore. I think it's just a system, and they play it through the under-21s. They play it all the way through. The women's team play the same system. So it's whether he fits the club system, I suppose.
I think there's also an element here of Arteta does actually make changes based on opponent and game state as well. It's why we're seeing Calafiori or Miles Lewis-Skelly we play slightly differently. And I'm just using that as one example.
Yes, but if you had a Rodrigo, a Leao, whatever, are you picking and choosing, or are you just playing them every game?
I think you're probably playing them most games, right?
So it takes away the ability to play a winger or an inside forward, right?
Not necessarily, because I think they're good enough to do both, particularly Rodrigo. But what I mean by the system is, Rodrigo can adapt to the system, or you can choose a system to suit him. If that's the player coming in, I don't think Arteta will go, well, we just play this way, and you can, maybe he does, and Rodrigo fits into it, and he's good enough to do it. But I also think, Arteta would probably tweak the system to get the best out of him.
Yeah. Fair enough. Right, let's go through these other results because otherwise we'll be here all night. Villa 4, Bournemouth 0.
Wow.
So obviously I didn't watch that game, to be honest with you, so I don't.
I didn't either.
I'm trying to see what the stats were on that.
But I mean, what a result from Villa, perspective. They're on good form at the moment. Coming up the league, I never thought that their early season form was indicative of where they were, but I did not see them winning this game 4-0. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean the XG and everything is quite even. So you've got 1.7 XG for Villa, and you've got 1.61 for Bournemouth. So
I think Bournemouth missed a penalty, didn't they? But I may have invented that because I didn't see the game.
Pass. I don't know. To be honest with you. But they're 16 shots to 12, so that scoreline seems to flatter them a little bit.
It did, yeah, but still, what a result,
A fantastic result. I'm not taking that away whatsoever. He just seems to not ring true with the stats.
Yeah, they did miss a penalty. Semenyo missed a penalty. Martinez.
Okay, Emmy saved a penalty. Khalid says.
Yeah. Oh, Khalid's just put it just as I said. I managed to quickly check, but
yeah.
Khalid confirming
he's on the ball.
He
So
is.
Villa are up to 6th after a rough start. They were right on the bottom, so it's helped them out that teams are taking points off each other quite.
Helps to rise.
Yeah, definitely, and obviously Bournemouth coming down helps them as well. So that certainly helps in that direction. Brentford beat Newcastle 3-1. Dan Burn red card. Did you watch the game at all?
This one, no, I didn't. The games I watched on Sunday were literally just one, which was the Manchester City Liverpool game. But I was keeping a very close eye on the 0-0, ironically, because I have a lot of Palace and Brighton supporting me.
Oh right, yeah,
So,
yeah,
but I mean,
yeah. I knew that'd be a draw, so I didn't watch that.
well, I was more because of the sort of personal interest rather than the game itself. But
Yeah.
it's again not surprised it was. I thought it'd be 1-1, but
Mm.
Brentford having a sneaky good season actually. They're not going to set the world alight. They're not fun to watch, but
No.
given the upheaval they had in the summer, I think they're doing really well. Eddie Howe is. There's people talking about him being replaced. I don't think it will happen, but in some ways this doesn't surprise me because I thought their summer was awful, and it. There we go. He could well be.
Because we did that the other week, didn't we? And we said, another couple of kind of in that motion. He's going to be there, isn't he? Or is he there?
He could be. I was just flick back on the table. He's 14th.
14th, and I again, like I said, he is 14th, but they're 12 points, and they're 3 points off Everton above them, and then the 4-point gap to 6th. But if teams aren't dropping that many points and they're basically that tight in there, even getting that 3-point gap built up to kind of fly back up the table is going to be tough, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think Newcastle will finish in the top half, but well, I mean, there you go, Khalid. I didn't realise it had been that long. That's a long time to not win an away game.
It's just madness, absolute madness.
You know what? Should Newcastle play Tottenham at Spurs and see what happens?
I mean, it's one of those, isn't it? That could literally just go either way, couldn't it?
I mean, I'd back Tottenham to beat Newcastle at the moment, to be fair, but
yeah, I mean, I on another stream, I basically saw that somebody was saying that Newcastle facing City after the international break, and you're like, and it's just like, well, St James's Park is normally a tough place to go, but
not so much at the moment potentially.
I'm not sure.
I mean,
and Dan Burn can't play either because he got sent off.
Yeah, and it is also the fact I felt that Newcastle overachieved last season anyway. So in some ways, that this has been the story of Newcastle the last few years. It's up, down, up, down. I think they will finish somewhere. In that they're definitely finishing in the top 10. I'd be surprised if they didn't. But it has and looks like it's going to be a difficult season for them, given where they want to be and what they want to achieve.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I saw it being tighter than that, but yeah, Newcastle in trouble. So
I think they're in trouble from where they want to be, not necessarily in trouble in terms of they're going down. I don't think they're going down.
No, I don't think they're going down, but I think Howe might be in trouble.
I think they will keep him for a while longer, but if at some point he's going to have to start getting some results.
Yeah, I completely agree. And Palace 0, Brighton 0. You said you watched that, did you?
It was a dire game.
Yeah, I mean, I think I watched about 10 minutes of it, and I saw that it was literally just a bit of a ball fest. So I turned it over.
It was the right result.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the Forest Leeds game. Did you?
No, because I was Brighton Palace was what I was.
I was on the same time.
Yeah.
Was that on the 2:00 kickoff as well?
Yeah.
So, have you watched that multi-view on Sky?
No.
Don't.
No. I can't cope with it. I can't.
It's
What's wrong with
shocking.
Is
Well,
it?
just as you get involved in anything, it switches to the other match. So there's like 4 matches on at the 2 o'clock. Only 2 of them are live, so you can't actually watch the other 2. They're on red button or something. And I only had my computer, so I don't have red button because I got Virgin, so I couldn't get the other two matches. So I watched that multi-view.
Yeah.
My God, it's just hideous, man.
I can't focus on that too many things at once like that. But so no, I
Yeah.
haven't. But I'll tell you what though, Forest. I mean, I'm not surprised they're struggling more than last year because I thought last year was a bit of a fluke. But I know I bravely predicted them to win at Bournemouth and they didn't. But I do think Sean Dyche will do a really good job at Forest.
Yeah.
And I think it's really nice to see him being given a decent squad. I really do. It'd be really interesting to see how he goes.
It'd be interesting to see what he does with the summer, isn't it? With an
Yeah.
actual transfer window. Although they spent quite a substantial amount in the this transfer window just gone as well. So
Yeah, they spent big. The owner, you can't fault the owner for
yeah, he's gone he has gone big, like you said.
Oh, you can fault the owner for many things, but you can't fault for the funding he's provided.
Yeah, I mean it's a nice fixture for Dyche though.
Yeah, it's just
Leeds
right
at
team to
home.
play. Leeds aren't physical. They're not going to sit low block. It's a perfect one for them. I mean, Leeds are arguably they are farcical. That's a terrible joke. Don't worry about it.
That was a terrible joke. Yes, you're not getting the MVP from that.
Understandably so.
Yeah, absolutely. I watched Forest Leeds. General consensus is Farker out. I'm not sure you can say that yet. They're still going to stay up, I think.
They're going to be. They're one of 4 for me that might go down. I don't know.
I think Fulham are getting sucked in.
Yes, I agree.
Burnley are still going to go. I think. West Ham will get out of it.
Yeah.
Forest
will get out of it.
Forest probably get out of it. Yeah.
And I think it's Leeds, Burnley, Fulham, and
so the gap thing is what I was talking about. So you basically got the 3 points behind. So Burnley had the 3-point cushion on West Ham, and now they don't have it. Forest have also made that up, so that'll pull Burnley back in, so that Burnley are on same points as West Ham now. Yeah. But I think West Ham will be fine. They're in mid-table somewhere now that they've made that change. So they just need to be a bit more pragmatic, don't they?
Yeah, which I thought they were always going to be the second they got Nuno.
Yeah, well, it was obvious what was going to happen, wasn't it? But it was quite nice that we played them before that happened. So,
yes,
yeah, absolutely. But I don't think it'll be Farker out. Certainly not yet. But I'm just looking at that form guide. 1 win in 5 is not great.
But it's also what newly promoted sides do to some extent. I think the problem for Daniel Farke is I'm not sure he's going to be pragmatic enough and to sort of make the changes to try and keep Leeds up. I think this is how we play, and I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's always kind of been a bit like that, hasn't it? A bit gung ho and a bit of it's who we are, mate.
It is a bit that, yeah.
But I also think that Iraola's the same as that. Bournemouth, yeah. I don't think he has a switch, which I think it's crazy for that. He was 3rd. Where is he now? He's gone down to 9th, I think, isn't he?
Bournemouth 9th.
Yeah, down to 9th. So
yeah, I mean, I agree with you, but I think he's got slightly better players to do it with, and he's got a bit more credit in the bank.
Yeah, but I also think that against Man City, he shouldn't be doing the high line. That's basically you're basically giving Haaland a goodie bag.
Yeah. I did, but I was going to say you also lost half your side in the summer
Yeah.
Do you want to
Are
sort
you
of try
sure?
and adjust slightly as a result?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah. And then the other game obviously was Man City beating Liverpool 3-0.
Yeah,
And to be honest, I didn't really see that coming. I thought City would win, but I thought it'd be by an odd goal.
I said to my kids who one supports City, one supports Liverpool, I said I thought it'd be a draw, but if anyone's winning it, it'd be City, which kind of speaks to what you were saying. It's an odd goal sort of thing. I think it'd have been very interesting if a Van Dijk goal had stood. Personally, I thought that should have stood. But don't blame VAR for not necessarily getting involved in that one because it's a subjective decision, and it's one of those ones where you could see the same thing happen next week, and it's given differently because it is subjective about how much Robertson is interfering. I don't think he was actually, but it was
I
given.
don't know. Have you seen where he hands off the keeper though?
No, I haven't seen that bit. I've just sort of seen him standing quite close when the ball
Yeah,
sort of hits
so
him.
before, yeah, but they've probably edited that maybe, but that there is a point where he literally hands off on the keeper and then runs away.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't notice that when either in real time watching the game or subsequently afterwards. But I think that would have been interesting. But I think, and I spoke about it pre-season. The reason I had Arsenal champions was because I just worried about the balance in Liverpool. And again, it's coming to the fore. Defensively, they just look all over the place. And I know some of that's form with Canate, and I know some of that's the drop off from Allison to Miras or whatever his name is. Yeah,
Mohammed
Momash from Villa, yeah. But there is still a structural problem there for Liverpool. And I think I spoke about this morning on a video actually. You know, this time last season, I didn't think Arsenal were out of the title race because I felt if we got some players back and Liverpool got a few injuries, the title race was back on. You can't totally discount Liverpool, but I think they're out of the title race because I think there was a structural issue in the team. It's not that they've got 2 or 3 players out and it makes a massive difference. I think there is a structural issue in the team.
I think they got the wrong players. I
They,
just
yeah,
think they got the wrong players.
I said it at the time when they bought Isak. I was like, "Why? You've just gone and bought Eric
Ekitike.
Ekitike." It's a bit like Arsenal. Arsenal decided they wasn't sure they were going to get Rodrigo, which is what you could say about Isak, and went for Madueke, and went,
Mm.
"Okay, we're now moving on to other areas of a team that we need to." Liverpool just went, "Oh yeah, but we're going to get Isak. Oh, he's available now. We got Ekitike. He kind of does the same thing. Yeah, but it was Isak, and they should have got Mark Gahey or similar, and they should have got a defensive midfielder. They didn't, and I'm not. I'm surprised to see how much they're struggling, and I thought they would be the main challengers to Arsenal. But it's also, when you really think about it, not a massive surprise that they are going to lose some games like this because the balance just isn't there. And now
Yeah,
the
I
form's in
think he's
his
just
head,
playing
and
it
it's in their head.
completely. He's playing it completely wrong. He's not playing Gravenberch as a six like he's been played before, and he's just trying to be more expansive with him. And to be honest with you, that's kind of why Klopp didn't win as much as he could have won because he didn't play with an actual six. After Thiago basically got injured, they never really replaced him, and it just ended up really open.
Yep.
You can basically play straight through them, and
United
you
can play
you get 1-on-1 with the centre back, and happy days. There you go.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's exactly right. And I think the other thing here is I wonder as well if he's doing it, and this is a very simplistic take, but I do wonder whether there's a little bit of an ego with him as well, where he just thinks
Dutch,
everyone
of
says
course,
it
is
was
an ego.
well, but there was a lot of criticism that he only won it because of Klopp's team. Now, my view on it is he inherited Klopp's team because I've heard people say this is what happens when you get a new proper manager. You win things. I don't agree. I think he inherited a very good team. It's very different to inheriting, say, Manchester United right now or Tottenham. A very, very good team he inherited. And but he didn't play in the same way as Klopp. There was a slight tweak. What he's done though is, in my view, he's almost overreacted to that because I think there is an ego there, and he's gone, "I'll show you. I'm going to do it my way," and I think it's gone wrong.
Yeah, but I think they've got the wrong players. I actually think that Frimpong is more of a Salah replacement than he is a Trent replacement.
Yes, do you know what I think? Frimpong, sorry, would have been a really good signing for Manchester United. They play the three at the back, three centre backs, and two wing backs. They haven't got the wing back. He fits perfectly into that system. It's how he played at Leverkusen. But Kirkes wants to get forward as well. Well, you can't both get forward. Both are not great defensively.
Yeah,
You're exactly right. I just again, I said it in the summer. The signings just didn't make sense.
they just don't add up, do they? They just kind of don't add up, and it's like, well, you didn't get the centre back as well, and if you're waiting that long for Gahey and you're waiting for the, go get somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it. Was it Tamin? He was a lovely guy from the Liverpool fan.
Yeah.
We said it then. We was like, it was football manager or FIFA window.
Gone wrong.
Yeah, gone wrong.
I just don't understand. But my biggest criticism, and I know Liverpool fans will hate me for it, and I know that they'll probably say I'm talking absolute waffle, but I think it is absolutely bang on that when what happened to Jota happened, you don't sell Diaz.
I agree.
At any cost, you just literally go, right, okay, let's talk about your contract. What do you want?
Yeah, I agree. And I don't think Diaz was amazing at Liverpool by any stretch, but I think...
No, but they haven't replaced him.
Yeah.
But they haven't replaced him. So they're basically, the two strikers, one's replacing Jota, one's replacing Nunes, and you're left with the left winger. Yeah, exactly. So you're left with a left winger, but you're not playing a left winger. You're playing a six and a left wing. Just like, makes no sense.
No, I agree. It's madness.
Yeah, and long may it continue.
Yes, indeed.
But yeah, we got obviously got a week or so off. So yeah, we come back to Spurs and Chelsea. But we can have that chat tomorrow if you're around.
I'm not sure I will be around tomorrow. I probably should spend an evening with my wife. But if you have no other guests, I'm sure I can do it again.
Daniel's around tomorrow, but if you want fancy jumping on Thursday, happy days.
Yes, Thursday I can do.
Yeah, well there you go, and do that then.
I shall finish work slightly late. So I won't do the football run.
We're gonna do this. And that's for the train driver. Because he actually got you back.
He did.
It's the only time you're going to be getting anything from me, train driver. But you can have that on me.
I genuinely thought he was going to stop us where we were and we were going to get kicked off. And it's an hour until the next one comes.
You don't need that in your life.
No,
absolutely not.
No. When my train out of Charing Cross was delayed getting to London Bridge, I was like, I had better not miss this connecting train. It's an hour. What was I going to say? I think there's only one player for this week.
Yeah.
I really do. I mentioned him earlier. I thought Dan Ballard was absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, the block on the line, his determination, his,
just the goal he scored.
The goal. I mean, he just looked a Premier League player.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't argue with that.
I also can't argue Khalid's latest comment.
Oh, sorry, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, you can blow smoke up your own. You know what?
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, I do. We do. So yeah, hit the like, hit the subscribe, share the channel around, and hopefully that will happen. So yeah, appreciate that, Cleed. Appreciate you sticking by us and all your comments. Appreciate that as well. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's us, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, no, good show as always.
Yeah.
Enjoyed that.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll see you on Thursday. We're going to do another show tomorrow with Daniel. So be about 9 o'clock. So we'll do that. Make sure you're around for that. In the meantime, make sure you're liking, subscribing, sharing the live, and yeah, this is 40 Corner. We'll see you next time. Good night.